Okay, hey, good morning,
Hey,
Travis.
how are you?
It's so sunny.
I know.
What's the date? December 16th?
Yes.
And we're sitting out
Yeah.
in your back patio in Morro Bay,
with
and it's
our-
like 72 degrees
Our
with our
sunglasses
sunglasses on.
and t-shirts and yeah.
It's flipping awesome.
Yeah, I love the Central Coast.
This is how we do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we're here to recap. This is number 10
Yeah.
of our mini-series, Faces Behind the Races. And we're going to do a little recap together.
Yeah.
And just sort of see where we've come with this first project of ours together.
Yeah, it's I think it's been a successful and really fun experiment.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah.
We've met some amazing people. We've gone to some amazing places.
Yes, we have. Who knew?
Who knew? So our
Yeah.
current model is the mini-series 10-pack, and then we do all of our interviews in person, which I think makes us really unique compared to a lot of other pods. You know, we both listen. We're like podcast junkies.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
It's so different when we're looking in the eyes of these humans, right? And that's our number one value is human connection. So how could we do it any other way?
Right. No, yeah, you can't get it over the phone or over some sort of an app or whatever, Zencast. They're great. They're neat tools. I'm glad they're there, but for us, just that, like you said, that human commitment, that face to face, you just can't get that any other way.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive. Yeah. I like it.
So number one was me, and that's kind of a little brief blurb on my story.
Yeah.
Number two, we had Luis Escobar.
Yeah, yes. Which I would
Super fan
love
of
to get him
Luis.
back when we get into the next miniseries and we talk to him as an athlete, because that guy is awesome and crazy.
Yeah, we were in his photography studio.
Yeah.
Luis Escobar is from All We Do Is Run. He's a race director, a professional photographer, an ultra athlete. Just a super, just stellar human, but just a freaking character.
Yes, yeah.
You know, what did you glean from that interview with him?
You know, the thing I got from Lewis that it's kind of an ongoing theme with these people, which I don't know if it's just because of the space we're in, but he's a sincere guy. I mean, there's no facade. There's no fake
Fluff.
Lewis. Yeah, I mean the nice guy that you talk to is legitimately a nice guy. It's really cool. I like it.
The nice guy who's just a badass.
Oh my God,
and
yeah.
has an edge to him, which is just an edge of truth and sincerity and just reality.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, he's a stand-up guy for sure.
Yeah.
So what about you? I mean, I know you know Lewis. You've known him for quite a while, through different events, and he's a photographer for many of your race slow events, or all of your race slow events.
Yeah, I know him professionally, and I know him as an athlete, and it was fun to get a little bit more backstory on him and the history of his life and his upbringing, and just a greater understanding for how he evolved into being the human he is today, which is really the mission of our storytelling platform, is to get people to understand who's behind that face.
Yeah.
Hence the faces, connection that we keep utilizing in all of our different series. But so that was fun for me, and to maybe learn things about him I didn't otherwise know, and just to get a little bit up close and personal with him in a different way.
I'd say that's that's great.
Yeah, and he's got some new projects this year, so we'll keep an eye on him. We'll definitely circle back to see what he's doing now that he's involved with Spartan, and he's hosting a trail running series, and any other things he might have going on besides his own races.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we need to follow up with him on the Hard Rock. I want to talk to him about how that went. And
get a
that
recap
experience.
of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I think we interviewed him right before he was going to do that.
That's a great idea, and I'm going to be at Hard Rock this next year. I'm not racing, but I'm going to be working at Hard Rock this year. So I wonder if he'll be there. Maybe that would be a time for me to come circle back and do a second interview.
Yeah, that'd be a great
up
idea.
on a mountaintop somewhere,
Right.
12,000 feet or some craziness.
Right. Very
After
cool.
that, we got my girlfriend Maria Burton from Primal Quest.
Yeah.
Was on the show, and that was also fun too. I actually interviewed her in our hotel room in Vancouver when we were coming back from a scouting mission and a work mission related to the Primal Quest Adventure race that we helped produce. And you were on that media team too.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a blast. I mean, a whole new experience for me.
British Columbia.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was awesome. I got my first passport.
Yes, and 10 days of adventure racing.
Yes,
And you got to talk about meeting amazing humans at that. Woo!
Oh, wow.
And Maria's story, like that, talk about just really deep, guttural human, survival and coming back and reinventing and striving and just continuing to fight the fight.
Yeah, well, with her, there was never a point in her life where she said, this is good. She's like, okay, this is good, and then what's next? You know, oh, this is great. Okay, now what's next? And she constantly has that drive of pushing and moving forward, regardless of what that looks like, and reinventing too. I like that a lot. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and then parenting.
Yeah,
you know, and she has so many different aspects to herself that being ex-professional adventure racer, how that's served her in her everyday life as a businesswoman, as a mother, as a wife, as a community member.
Yeah.
And, you know, now she actually has a job in tourism. I don't know if you know that, but in the town she lives in, she's actually doing, she's the director of an organization that is in charge of creating tourism for that area.
I had no idea.
Which is a perfect fit.
Yeah, no, it really is. I mean, she is so passionate about what she does. So for her to talk about
getting
her home,
people moving.
Oh gosh, that's ideal. Yeah,
and in the outdoors.
Cool. Yeah.
Then we had Ian Adamson.
Oh, man.
World OCR. Yeah. Another good friend of mine. Fantastic character. Oh, man. That dude. Literally, I think his is our longest podcast because we could not stop.
No.
We were in his backyard, like throwing spears and doing all these cool, fun things. But just once we sat down and we like did a deep dive with that guy, it just kept unraveling. And neither one of us, we were just so entranced in the conversation.
Yeah, I totally lost track of time. He just blew my mind. What he's done, what he's been through, just his total life experiences. It's like a crazy movie. You know, it's
definitely a movie, and he's also so humble.
Oh yeah,
that it's fun to be listening and really, it's like reading a book. I felt like I was reading a book, and the chapters just kept going and going and going. Really beautiful story there. And he's just not even halfway through. No. Like he's still charging and doing just awesome things.
The cool thing about Ian is he's not just reinventing himself in just a more defined way, but he's helping the sport evolve.
Yeah.
He's
giving back.
Yeah, he's very unselfish about his time and his efforts towards, you know, the OCR community, which I loved. I mean, you don't see that very often. You know, a lot of people are very much about like, okay, cool, but what's in it for me? And I think Ian he just wants to see the world appreciate this thing the way that he does. Yeah. Which
he believes in the mission, and, you know, it's like a battle and you're going out into the field and, you know, the mission is the mission, and he believes in the mission. He's going to execute the mission.
Oh man, he will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's fun because we get to work with him on some of these projects.
Exactly. Yeah. And the great thing about Ian is there's no, you know, he talks about all these projects and there's no if. It's just when. When. Yeah. When is that going to happen? When will OCR be part of the Olympics? You know, when will these things actually come to fruition? Because you just get out of his way. He's a force.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
One word for him that I think just nails it in my experience with knowing him and getting to know him better is visionary.
Oh, yeah.
It's cool just to hang out with visionaries.
Yeah.
I have crazy visions. I'm a different kind of visionary. He's a visionary.
That's cool.
So then we had Doug Thurston. We went to Carmel, Big Sur Marathon. And we went to their offices and we got to, you know, meet their people. And most importantly, the Cat Bentley.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, who's the real rock star behind that organization?
Yeah.
So Doug is freaking awesome. He's also an athlete as well and a triathlete and the race director of that massive organization and all their events.
Yeah. He is just the funny thing about Doug. He's huge. He's just a big presence.
7 feet tall.
Yeah, size, personality. You walk into the room, it's like, there's Doug. And in a great way. It's not like his ego is out of control. He's just this really nice stand-up dude who's just this force. You're like, hey, it's Doug. I know we bumped into him at the...
lovable.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
And we bumped into him at the trail running conference.
That's right.
A couple months later. And you walk in the room and you see Doug. And he's got the big smile and he's just radiating all this great energy. And yeah, he's a blast. He's a lot of fun.
I also had known him pretty well and worked on some stuff with him. What I loved probably most about that interview was learning about his dad's influence and his upbringing. And then at the end where we like circled around on, you know, races that would be fun to do if it weren't like, you know, didn't have to financially make sense or really logically even make sense, you know, and we talked about doing an animal run. And he basically confessed that his biggest joy in runs right now is how many cats and dogs does he experience during those runs? And
Yeah.
he stops and engages with the pet and has an exchange with these four-legged friends.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
it's brilliant. And it's just
so beautiful.
Yeah, what do you say? It's a 4-dog run or a 5-dog run, or that's how he
and that's
he rates
how,
it.
Instead of I ran a friggin' 7:30 and I all this other stuff that we used to make ourselves crazy about as athletes, and now we're like, how many cats were there?
Yeah. Yeah.
When I do runs, and obviously I have these flashbacks into these moments, and I recently ran in Santa Margarita around and there was all these cats, and all I could think about was Doug and the cats.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I was like, I gotta look at the cats. I gotta make eye contact. I should probably pet them.
Well, normally you're running trails, so if you see a cat, you want to go the other way, right? There's a big, large cat and it wants to eat you.
There's a cat. Yeah, it's generally a problem. That's hilarious. Yeah. Chrissy Mail, checking out 50K and Patagonia athlete. Yeah. Oh, man, she's one of my race director sisters. Just, whew. Yeah. Human being extraordinaire.
It is really cool because she does these events, but I mean, she is just so passionate about these Patagonia projects, the film projects that's going around right now.
Project.
I think we caught her mid-tour when she
Mm-hmm.
was coming through San Luis Obispo. And it's awesome to see all these individuals, Ian, Doug, Chrissy, especially Chrissy. She has this passion, and she's able to turn her profession, the trail, the race directing and the running profession, and turn it into this real, heartfelt, true outreach project that she loves. And you watch her talk about it. I know podcast is all audio. We got some photos, but watching her face as she was describing this tour and the great people she got to meet and how she got to talk about the project, the Patagonia project, it was unreal. It just melts your heart to watch her talk about it.
Yeah, she had some great stories because she's traveled around the world. She's been in a lot of races. And just her experience out in the bigger world outside of, she's in Washington, outside of her state and outside of the United States even, and just that bigger impact, that global impact really in terms of trail running, ultra running, because she's an author as well. And, being able to connect to people through her passion point, but really to be a catalyst for change in other areas. With other nationalities and all these barriers you think would be there, but then using running. And she really spoke about that, how running created this connection and camaraderie and relationship that breaks down all those barriers.
Yeah.
And God, I mean, how many things can you say that about?
No,
and in this day and time and political climate, we need all the things we can.
Oh yeah.
To really unite with one another and to find common ground. And if running can be that platform, which I believe it can, I believe endurance sports is a platform that has so much power that we haven't even really tapped into yet. She's just a prime example of using running to just make that happen.
Yeah. It was neat hearing her talk about the business side of it. She kind of dabbled a little bit in it. It didn't go super deep, but it was really cool to hear her these are the struggles and this is how I got where I am and these are the processes. And
being a professional athlete. Woo.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
It's just hard to be a professional human. You throw athlete on
I didn't know we had to. I thought that's why we were self-employed.
Right.
Oh man, I've signed up for the wrong gig if that was the expectation. Oh my gosh. Danelle Belangi.
Yeah.
Moab, Utah. So again, I was in Moab with her. Worked with her at her Moab Trail Marathon. Got to spend quite a bit of time with her. The interview was actually prior to that when I was there on another trip.
Oh yeah.
But her story of survival.
Oh my gosh.
3 days in the desert, falling from a mountain, out trail running, and being saved by search and rescue and her dog in particular.
Yeah.
And of course, I've met her dog many times now, and her family and all her kids and everything like that. And then to go back. So we did that interview, which was awesome. And she's very shy and very private. But I felt, what a privilege to be in her home and to be able to capture her story and to talk to her. But then to go back later, now that we're much closer, and work with her at an event under her as a race director, a whole other level of respect.
Oh, no kidding.
And a whole other relationship developed, for us working together as a team to help produce her event. And she's got amazing people around her. But she attracts that.
Yeah.
And just how she led and the way that she hosted her event. I know a lot of race directors. I've been to a lot of races. I couldn't believe at times her connection to her customers,
Oh.
whether it be her interface on the internet with customer service and emails and that kind of thing, and social media. She doesn't do a lot of social media because she's busy. She's got 2 kids, and but then even at the event, literally being there and like greeting all the athletes as they checked in.
Wow.
And at the start line and having conversations and it just blew my brain, you know, because that's her value system. And that's why she's doing what she's doing, is she believes that those relationships are what it's all about.
Sure.
And everybody is equally valuable and has a story and needs to be heard and needs to be welcomed.
What a fantastic
It was cool.
way to look at that experience, that life. I mean, how just knowing and going into it, knowing that I'm going to meet all these amazing people, and I really, honestly, sincerely want to meet them.
Yeah. Yeah. She gives a lot to her community, too. I recognize that as we spent time together. I mean, she coaches soccer and she does all these community-oriented events and gives back in that way. And what really well-rounded human.
Yeah. Well, and it was really neat. I mean, she's probably told that story who knows how many times.
Sure.
But there's still so much just passion and life experience having her tell it again.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. First of all, I can't imagine going through that.
Yeah.
that's an intense ordeal.
Yeah.
But just to hold on to that energy from the experience and to carry it through life, to empower her to do better things as she goes forward. It's easy to forget about that, but no, she carries it along, which is very awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Woo! Let's stop and catch our breath. I want to tell you a little bit about our presenting sponsor, Race Roster. Honestly, I've tried pretty much every registration platform that's out there. Nobody can touch the level of customer service and genuine business growth partnership available at Race Roster. They take the stress out of running my business and give me back the confidence and marketing tools I need to succeed. Catch a demo at raceroster.com/EnduranceTown USA.
Yeah.
So another trip in Moab, Utah, and actually Pruitt, Colorado, and then to Moab, Utah. I was at the Desert Rat stage race this summer. A couple of my friends and I were doing that with Gemini Adventures.
The beast.
So Gemini Reed, 5 days of running from Colorado to Utah. It's an awesome race, Desert Rats, and I do love it. It was the second time that I was there. It was incredibly hot this year, and we did have a little bit of carnage out there. But again, Gemini Reed, you know, and Reed in particular doing his work and what he believes in. I had known him as a race director because I was an athlete at his events. I didn't know him as personally as I know some of these other people, and where I've layered relationships and whatever that might look like a little bit different.
Yeah.
So when I got to actually invite him into my home there in Moab, Utah, and sit down in the living room and have a beer after this event, we were friggin' tired. It was hilarious. The pictures, we looked like we're half asleep.
Right.
But, you know, we drank one beer and we were ready to take a nap. But it was cool to really dig into his history and his upbringing. And part of me, like, feels that that's my favorite interview so far.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like what we did by creating that space for him is allow him to really tell his own story in a different way than he is perceived as a race director and as an athlete. Because he's got this image in the world of race directors and athletes as this hard-ass, badass, and all these things, which he is all of that also.
Oh, yeah.
But the dad, the husband, the community member, the other aspects of his life story.
Yeah.
I was just like, what?
It was very cool. Yeah, it was awesome. Wait, what's the thing he talks about his kids?
He's got twins, and his whole story of bringing these girls up, and like that whole thing, how it went and how it's still going.
Yeah, yeah.
And how he is raising them was freaking awesome.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's very cool. I mean, he does, and I love how there's no apologies. It's like, we're going to go out, we're going to do this incredible thing.
Yeah.
And what is it, therapist or, I forget what it was.
Yeah, they're either going to be at a therapist at some point telling the therapist about this because they're going to need counseling. Or it's going to be something that makes their, lifetime history book, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah,
there's a great story in there about him going to, was it Hard Rock 100 or Leadville 100? But he's up in the Rocky Mountains training for this high altitude race, and he brings them, and they're babies in diapers. And his wife stays home because she's a professional and she's got her job. So he takes them to do high altitude, training or acclimate to the high altitude. So he's camping with them as they're potty training.
That's right. Yeah, he was talking about changing diapers at Leadville.
Yes.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I loved it.
I mean, what is that? Oh, that is so cool because those kids, just the amount of exposure that they've gotten to the real world and to the athletic world, but just a different way to know your parent, just in a completely different way than is traditional.
Yeah.
And I think there's a huge lesson for all of us in that, there's no such thing as raising the perfect kids or doing it right or all these ideas we have in our head.
Yeah.
If we are a certain type of person on the earth, on the planet in this time, and our life is our kids have to adapt to that. And that's how we will raise them to be their best human.
Yeah.
By us being our best human.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's taking the fear out of their future, right?
Yeah.
They're going to have all this.
They do these crazy adventures.
And they're going to be like, cool, let's do it. Like, whatever that is, be it life, business, whatever. They're going to be ready to try anything.
I love
that. That is awesome. That's something that, he's done right, for sure.
And then our number 9 was Charlotte Brooks, Canadian running series. So we were in Vancouver, spent some time with her, and we got to spend a little time in Vancouver having some fun. So that was cool for us.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Vancouver's a great city.
Oh my gosh.
And then Charlotte, her story, what really resonated with me is how she was brought up in the company and in the sport. It was her dad, and the family is very tight, and it all revolved around running and the business and the races and all of the things that they've done there in that community to grow this phenomenal. I mean, their impact is just mind-boggling to me, the magnitude of what they're doing there and how she grew up in it. It's like at 5, 6, she's putting the goodie bag stuffers and doing the pins. And then by 8 or 10, she's checking athletes in to races, And then she went to college and then came back. And how she now is basically leading the company, It's cool for me to see other lady bosses of that magnitude who are doing amazing things. I feel like we're really growing the sport and changing the sport in a really positive way.
Absolutely.
But for her to tell her story to us and have all these weavings of people that have influenced her, and her dad being one of those, but a lot of other people too, as a runner and as a boss, and in particular in this industry, and how she's affected the industry. She's got all kinds of awards, and she's just crushing it.
Well, it was cool because she's a second generation Canadian running series owner, event director, and there's none of that usual like I inherited this from somebody. The way she talks about it and the passion in her voice and her face when she talks about it, it's as if she created it herself. And she's done a lot on her own. It's
definitely evolved
to the next level.
She's putting her own flair.
She has that energy as if she did this all on her own, and it's her own baby. So it's pretty. I'm definitely looking forward to the beer run. I think that's going to be a fun idea.
She has a liking for beer.
Yeah.
And then I'm working on this women's race directors project where we will get together and meet and have some time together, and all of us support each other and have some business and have some fun and all that kind of stuff.
And it's great because
I'll see her again.
From all these events that they've talked about and the experiences that they put together, there's definitely evolving the world of racing from, you get your bib and you sign up and you run and you get your thing and you walk away from that and more into the human experience and the enjoyment of the community and just vibing with these thousands of other people that love this thing that you love too, and you can hang out and party afterwards, and there's definitely this awesome energy coming into these events. So I'm excited to see where all these people take it. Yeah, absolutely.
So then what's for us next?
Oh gosh, I think we just give up, right? We're done. we perfected podcasting. No,
Check.
yeah, and done. No, so we talked to these awesome race directors, and I think now we start chatting it up with some athletes.
Yeah, we move from faces behind the races.
Yeah.
Which we'll come back and we'll do another faces behind the races, because what we found is there are so many people and so many faces behind it. And we know this because we're in the industry, but at the same time, like once we started doing this, we're like, we literally met so many interesting people when we were looking through this lens. The media teams that we've worked with, and you've been on these media teams, like these people, what they're doing, and they're amazing. Yeah. And then if you think about people who have other aspects interplaying in the industry, whatever that looks like, the technology pieces of the industry, the just any little aspect that helps endurance sports happen and be elevated. We got to start having conversations with those people. Yeah.
Well, right? A lot of these that we talk to afterwards, they're like, hey, you know so-and-so? Have you met so-and-so? You've got to go talk to this guy. He's got an interesting story. So, we'll definitely be back to Faces Behind the Races.
Which means we're going to be doing a lot of traveling.
Yeah. Yes.
But on our next series, which is the Faces of Endurance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right? So now we're going to get into athletes. We've already started. Yeah, we've already got a couple in the can that are just amazing.
Oh, gosh.
So that's where we're going next for our audience. Yeah. And telling the stories of the athletes.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a variety of ways.
Sure.
We're not just doing, if you're an elite athlete and you got a story.
Right.
Again, who is the human? What's the human story?
What inspired them to get to where they are now? The why. Why are they running across America? Maddie Gregg. Why are you this Spartan just god who just dominates every single thing you get into, Killian? Yeah. I mean, there's these people who they're not just in the sport. They live, breathe, and dominate the sport in really incredible ways. And it's interesting the story behind their drive and their reasoning and their passion. And I can't wait to get these out. People
so that's where we're going next.
Yeah, awesome.
All right, and then what are your personal goals? I mean, we're closing out the year too. So if you think about yourself as a dad and a community member and an entrepreneur and a husband and all the things that make you an endurance athlete, even without the kettlebell that's sitting over there.
Right.
We're in your backyard right now. But so life is an endurance sport for you, honestly.
Yeah.
But what are your health, fitness, wellness goals for the new year for you and your family?
Yeah. I think for us, it's truly having them. I mean, we last year, my wife and I did a pretty good job with the routine and going to the gym and meeting great people that way and getting our kids involved in a lot of sports. And, I'll admit it, the last 4 months, it kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
We got stuck. Yeah. You got the 8 to 10 hours a day. You just kind of get in that mode and rut and you forget about all the other things. So definitely getting back out and doing something, even if it's just kayaking, in the bay, even if it's just a couple walks every night. Now I think we're gonna try to do the 100 miles in January, for our hashtag.
We're gonna have a challenge, the 100 challenge.
Yeah.
100 of anything. So our audience will be challenged there too. Yep. So you're gonna sign up for a challenge.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. So Jen and I will do walking for sure.
So you're gonna go for the 100-mile walk.
Yeah.
Okay.
With my ankle, I can't really do a whole lot of running or cycling or anything like that. But definitely gonna walk.
Awesome.
So I think that would be a nice kickoff, just to kind of get us back into the habit of doing something.
Yeah.
So not sitting on my chair.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Not the 100 email campaign.
I can do that.
Right, or the 100 texts. That's a day.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. All of us are guilty of that, right?
Yeah. It's easy.
It is easy to get into that rut, and it's challenging for all of us.
Absolutely.
We have a blog, too. You can follow our blog on Race Slow, and we talk about these kind of things and our challenges, and we tell other people's stories about how they navigate the space. And
and it's nice.
Hopefully
we talk
inspire
about
some people.
A lot of other things. So what about you? I mean, you asked me the question. What's on your agenda for the year to come?
I'm turning fierce at 50 next year. So I'm 49, aging up into 50. Last weekend... 2 weekends ago, I just did a half Ironman with my son.
Wow.
So it was his first triathlon.
That's fantastic.
So that was pretty wild because I haven't done triathlon since 2011. No swimming, no nothing. I basically showed up and kind of winged this thing, I'm not going to lie, which is a terrible idea. Don't do that. But it was so fun to do it with him.
Yeah.
Really fun to do it with him.
I can imagine.
And I obviously finished the race. I didn't die. So, you know what I mean? For me, it was a very good mental training exercise.
Okay. All right.
And so those are also really valuable things to me in terms of growing myself as a human being, not just an athlete and an ultra athlete.
Yeah.
So that was fun. In January, I'm doing my first Spartan Super, so that'll be cool. And I've got a whole team from San Luis Obispo at Headstrong Fit that are doing it.
Yeah.
Very different group than I've ever been with before, and I'm loving that.
Oh, very cool.
Different energy, different vibe, different goals, all kinds of different workouts.
Okay.
Way more diverse workouts than I'm accustomed to.
So you guys are working out specifically to train for Spartans.
Yeah,
in this,
right
in
now.
this course. Okay,
so it's the Headstrong Endurance Team, sponsored by Race Slow, and what we're doing in San Luis Obispo County is we're creating a space for athletes to come together and train endurance athletes, but we will pick a different race every quarter.
Oh,
so
okay.
Spartan is the January gig, and then in April we'll have slow marathon, slow half, slow relay races, 5K. It'll be more walking, running oriented.
Love it. Okay.
Probably in summer we'll do an adventure race or a triathlon, and then in the fall I will definitely peel off some people who will do ultras with me, because that's what I'm ultimately training for. But they will move on to do something different. So diversity is going to be the critical piece of this, is that we're always offering something different. We want people to try new things. We want them to really not just build a better body, meet new people, and have a great community experience, but honestly challenge your mindset.
Oh, I love that.
Challenge your limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
Challenging what you think you're capable of doing.
Yeah.
And we'll help you get there.
So
So that's really our mission.
And in the process, you're challenging yourself.
Oh, hell yeah,
You
I
are
gotta
also doing all these
Listen,
things.
lead by example.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I also signed up to do Trans Rockies.
Oh my gosh.
So 120 miles across the Rocky Mountains in the summertime, and that's actually the week after my birthday.
Oh, wow.
So that's cool, and I've got some friends that are going to join me on that.
And that's an elevation change too, right? It's not just...
we will be at high altitude the whole time, which is a challenge for me because we live at the beach, right?
Right.
I'll have to get trained for that. And then I've got some other things I'm kind of looking at.
Okay.
That are in the ultra endurance space, like later on in the year, but for sure some long distance mountain biking, possibly an adventure race, and then just crazy shenanigans is what I call them. If somebody calls me up, I just saw a good friend yesterday, Tom, who was talking to me about he's going to climb Mount Rainier this year, and I said, well, sign me up. I really know nothing about it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not even a snow person, but I'm like, whatever that is going to look like, I trust you, you're an intelligent human, but we'll figure it out. And, you know, I want to be invited to that.
Yeah.
So I want to do cool things. And the biggest reason is I want to challenge myself. Age means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It only encourages me to pay more attention to the details.
Sure.
But I go to the coolest places and meet the coolest people.
Yeah.
What the hell else is there?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, what is actually else is there? I just don't even see on a life trajectory for me, but for humans in general.
Yeah.
Where else are the rewards? If we're not doing great stuff, meeting great people, what are we doing?
And actually, in person meeting.
In person, like the real deal.
Yeah.
We're going to look each other in the eye and we're going to make this thing happen, or we're going to connect, or we're going to have a conversation, or we're going to have something. And in that something exchange, and that's what this podcast is really about, in that moment of storytelling and exchange and energy and all of this stuff, we're changed. We will leave this interview different than when we came in.
Oh, yeah.
We will leave every experience. Today I was at the gym at Headstrong doing some different things, meeting with different people. I left that workout different from then when I came in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, this is fantastic. I love it. This is fun.
Yeah.
Whew.
So here we go, dude.
Ready for the next 10?
We're in for round 2. Yay, us!
All right, there we go.
Woo! Awesome.
It's great.
Perfect.
Bring it back.